Hey, it's the Super Bowl 60 preview show on the FTN Fantasy Shots and Tanier NFL podcast. The Seahawks, the Patriots. We'll also take a look at the NFL coaching carousel, take your questions and comments. I am Aaron Schatz, the DVOA guy from FTN Fantasy. He is Mike Tanier. You can read his Substack at miketanier.substack.com. Our first comment says, did we get through the snow and ice well? Well, it's piled outside my window. How about you?
Yes, it is still piled up. We're hitting 33 degrees at 1 o'clock. And I plan to barrel my car out. My car's been sitting. My wife's car's plowed out. My car's been sitting for a week and a half.
How cold was it in Mobile? You just got back from the Senior Bowl. How cold was it in Alabama?
The highs were around 50 with light winds until the game itself, when it went down to 30. If you watched any of the game, you saw everybody doing this in the stands. People were cold down there, but I was walking around with my jacket open. I mean, come on. It's been 10 degrees.
Because we're Northeasterners, man.
Right.
Yeah, they got tons of snow in Charlotte yesterday. I
Yes.
can only imagine poor Scott Spratt shoveling himself out. No one in Charlotte knows what to do with snow.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of the people who left after the Senior Bowl, Mobile going to Atlanta and Charlotte, like on Saturday and Sunday. There might be people stranded in Mobile, Alabama right now.
Yeah, it's very possible. Was there a general vibe in Mobile this year about sort of the league, the Super Bowl, where this draft class is?
Strengths a wide receiver. Wide receivers were impressive down there. Strength at edge rusher. Edge rushers were impressive down there. Weakness at quarterback. Garrett Nussmeier was healthy, was a full participant, which
I believe was the game MVP, in fact.
Was the game MVP, although he spent the first quarter handing off and watching the national team plow the American team back and then threw a couple 5-yard passes. But he helps his draft stock by showing up at that game and participating for a week to show that it was a core injury of some kind, as I recall, that he's healthy. But I'm going to tell you right now, when the Hall of Fame news hit, and that was Tuesday afternoon, that was the conversation.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I think by this point, everyone understands that the biggest issue here is the process, not that people had an axe to grind against Belichick.
You understand. I understand. Our colleagues understand. The people who talk to us understand. Fans don't understand. You can't tell me that if you went into a bar in Boston right now and brought this up, they wouldn't think that.
No, you're right. Yeah, they would think this is all Bill Polian's fault.
Yeah.
Right? They probably don't think a lot about Vahe Gregorian or whoever else has come out and said that they didn't vote for Belichick because they wanted to vote for Roger Craig and Ken Anderson.
Right.
They think it's all Bill Polian's fault, and this is all about Spygate. And I mean, the question is it going to actually result in any changes? And is the Hall of Fame going to understand that there need to be more Hall of Famers, not fewer, and that in fact, the changes they have made to make fewer Hall of Famers have just bumped guys longer down the road.
Right. For the people I talk to, of course, are the selectors. They get it. The people, our colleagues. The people above them are in this weird rarefied air where they listen to the Yellow Jackets themselves. They listen to Prime, and for other guys who think like Prime, all of whom are players these days are wimps. They listen to that, and they listen to this exclusive hall talk and everything, and they keep reacting to that. I hope this is the wake-up call that turns.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an exclusive hall in the past, right? No. Every player who's in thinks they're special because they got in, and therefore Steve Smith doesn't deserve it or something.
Right.
But in reality, there are plenty of players who've gotten in who are on the border, and I'm pretty much fine with all of those guys getting in as long as similar guys from 2005 also get into the Hall of Fame.
Right, but that's not how they're operating. They're like, the guys from 2005 on, we're going to make it harder, so it's more special for the Yellow Jackets who are in, and then you have this egregious situation where Belichick is not.
Right, the whole putting the players up against coaches instead of just having it be an 80% up or down vote.
Right. I have a feeling if it was just yay or nay on Belichick, they would have cleared 80%. 80% is really high anyway, but they would have cleared 80%. But once you've got somebody who's there, it's like, my job today is to get Roger Craig in. Like that's my job. So whatever I do, I'm doing for that. And they're in there, and they're just putting all the old players in. Then you have this situation where 2 or 3 swing voters create an embarrassment.
A reminder, by the way, we take your questions and comments if you're watching us live, which we do 11 a.m. Monday today, next Monday to review the Super Bowl. Then we'll take a few weeks off. Then we'll do draft stuff after that. Let's talk about the coaches. 10
Wow.
New head coaches in the National Football League. I think my biggest takeaway from the head coach hiring is that Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay have a civic duty to hire some African Americans.
Yes. All right.
Offensive coaches, because it's clear that everybody wants an offensive coach from the Shanahan and McVay trees. And none of those guys are African American, and therefore African Americans are not. I mean, Brian Flores is a whole complicated.
Yeah, that's right. You put us right.
But no African Americans were hired.
Right.
Only one minority was hired, if you consider Robert Saleh a minority, because he's Lebanese.
Yeah.
The biggest issue is guys are coming out of those offensive camps. They need to hire young African American offensive coaches so those guys can come out of those camps.
Agreed. And there are a couple in the pipeline, but they seem to get trapped in the pipeline during all of these processes. And part of it might be, part of that might be hiring people whose last name is not Kubiak or LaFleur once in a while.
Right, but even like Nate Shielhays is not, as far as I know, an African American gentleman. So,
I'm not sure.
Shielhays or
I know, but I'm not sure actually. So let's put a.
I don't know, but I don't think he is.
Right, I was actually researching a bunch of the coaches, and there are a couple of African American coaches in the pipeline. I don't remember who's who, so I don't want to go on record.
Right, there's only 2 African American offensive coordinators right now: Mike McDaniel and Eric Bieniemy. And Eric Bieniemy doesn't call plays because Andy Reid calls the plays.
Correct, and he's like been in the pipeline for a while. Nate Shielhays, I don't know.
Yeah, but you're right about the whole Kubiak and LaFleur. Mike LaFleur, it seems like they just were like, we need someone from this coaching tree.
Yeah.
We're in the NFC West. The NFC West is run by this coaching tree. We need someone from this coaching tree. Let's grab Mike LaFleur. I definitely understand. Clint Kubiak had that nice offense for the first few weeks in New Orleans. He did a good job in Seattle this year. I kind of, putting him with a number 1 overall pick quarterback, I guess makes sense. Mike LaFleur, I feel like it seems weird that it's his turn.
Just grab the guy. Just grab a guy. Grab a guy from that group. Grab a guy whose last name is familiar. That's sort of the mentality there. And that is a really good takeaway. And the other takeaway is you look at the processes that lead to some of these decisions. I wrote about the Bills. I wrote about the Browns a little bit too. Like these teams are run like lemonade stands mixed with like Game of Thrones families. They're like the Bluths. They're all run like the Bluths these days. And you get results like this. You get bad minority hiring processes, but you also just get bad hiring processes. They stumble into good coaches because we can all name the good coaches.
I don't know. Listen, we don't know whether Joe Brady is a great head coach.
Right.
I don't know why we should believe that Joe Brady will be a better head coach than Sean McDermott. Correct. I mean, there's enough talent on that team that they could easily just be on the upper side of the range of possibilities and go to the Super Bowl next year.
Yes.
Honestly, the Bills, sure. But do you feel like there's a better chance they're going to do that with Brady than with McDermott? I don't.
No, Brady is a coattail hanger. He is a career coattail hanger who just hung his way to the top. I do love the fact I see some Bills fans chirping at me on social media. The new defensive coordinator, Jim Lionheart, who comes from the Broncos, was the secondary coach there. And it's like, wow, we got a mastermind who was a great secondary coach under an outstanding coach. And thank you. You just described Sean McDermott's career.
Yes, Leonhard is a guy who has been in people's sights for a while. In fact, I almost would be more excited if Leonhard had just been the head coach hire.
The head coach. Yeah, well, one of the things is I think that team needed a different coordinator. I think Brady is out there just noodling and then being like, okay, now we can run the ball and win and also go do your hero ball thing, Josh Allen. I've never been impressed by a Joe Brady offense except for the fact that there's a Hall of Famer running it, whether it was in college or in the NFL by default.
Also, it might just be Jim Leonard and the H is silent, and I just mispronounced it like a moron. But
it could be Leonard. Yeah, I remember him as a ball player. It might have been Leonard, but like, yeah, we're struggling a little bit with some of these names today.
The Minter, I think Minter, everyone likes the Minter hire from Baltimore.
Yes.
Everybody felt Kevin Stefanski needed another job, and having him in the Atlanta offense is good. I like John Harbaugh getting another job. I really, I've said, I think already on this show, I think the Giants could definitely be the team to make the leap next year.
Yeah, I need to see who their coordinator is now because it's not Monken, obviously.
And Mike McCarthy is so anti-Steelers, it just doesn't make any sense.
He's so anti-Steelers that he's Cowboys.
Yes. All right, let's preview Super Bowl 60. I have so many notes. They're very disorganized here.
Yeah.
But we'll go through all the various stat splits or a lot of the stat splits that I found. There's a lot of interesting. I feel like studying this game, I've come more and more to feel like it's closer than you would think, given how historically good the Seahawks are in DVOA.
That makes sense.
The Patriots, number one, have gotten much better in recent weeks.
Right.
And number two, there are certain matchups in which they hit the strengths of the Seahawks very well. For example, the best defense in the league against play action passes since week 10 is the New England Patriots.
Okay. Who was running those play action passes since week 10?
Well, that's okay. So that's problem one.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Is even though I'm adjusting for opponent.
Yes.
Oh, well, really bad opponents. Just
really
right. And also with little asterisks. Houston without Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz is different than Houston the rest of the year.
Right.
Chargers, some weeks had alt, some weeks didn't have alt, etc.
Right.
The anti-Patriots feeling, my biggest anti-Patriots feeling is they went out there in the last 3 weeks against three of the top defenses in the league, and Drake May was not good.
Yes.
He has played 4 top 10 defenses this year, and he was good against one of them, and that was Cleveland, and that was weeks ago.
In a game where you didn't have to worry about Cleveland scoring against you at all, which can alter your game plan at all. Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing in the Seahawks' favor is here they come with the number one defense in the league, and we haven't seen Drake May have the game. Now, listen, Stafford and May are the 2 MVP candidates, and Stafford lit up the Seahawks.
Yes.
Over and over again.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that their games are the same, and it doesn't mean that May is going to do that.
Or that their offensive lines are the same. And one reason why May has been struggling, I think, is because when Campbell has started to face better edge rushers later in the season, he's kind of hit a rookie wall. Some of the other guys in the offensive line aren't the same against these better defenders than they were during the season.
Although no disrespect to DeMarcus Lawrence, this is not one of the best. This is not Will Anderson Jr. or Nick Bonito in this game. Seattle is much more schemed up.
It's schemed up. And also it's waves. So you get fresh legs in there too. So sometimes you say, well, it's just Derek Hall. Well, it's Derek Hall with fresh legs or Boye Mafe with fresh legs. These are good ball players that are coming in, giving them good reps.
The Seahawks, right? The big thing for the Patriots defense, right? They've played their 5 best games in the last 5 games.
Yes.
Is the blitzing, right? They've gone to blitzing 41% of the time. And Sam Darnold really struggled against the blitz this year. He was 23rd among quarterbacks in DVOA when blitzed. And even in the NFC Championship game against the Rams, he was only 4 for 7 with 2 sacks on the 9 times the Rams blitzed.
Right.
So he was not as good against the blitzes as he was when he played really well in the rest of that game.
Right. And what the Seahawks will, of course, try to do is, first of all, keep the game close so they're not in a position where the Patriots could tee off, which they often were in the previous games, and do a lot of running, do a lot of 2 tight ends to try and prevent this being a situation where it's 3rd and 10 and you got to spread the field and Vrabel can open up the back of the playbook.
I will say if you like big passes, this is Drake May and Sam Darnold were 2nd and 3rd this year in DVOA on passes of 16 or more air yards.
Stafford first?
I believe Stafford is first. Yes.
Right. May was great. Downfield passes, he was outstanding. And Darnold with those pick his shots, deep passes, was really strong.
Another interesting thing for the Seahawks passing game, the Patriots were only 31st covering number one receivers this year. But once Gonzalez was playing more in the second half, opponents stopped throwing to number one receivers. So essentially, they were really efficient when they did, but they barely did. They only allowed 28 targets to number one receivers in the last 9 weeks of the regular season.
What's interesting is Vrabel usually keeps them by sides. Gonzalez, Davis,
much more than you would expect. Much more than Gonzalez had been in the past.
Right, and I don't know if they'll stick with that. Obviously, you got 2 weeks. You can change things up. You're going to see Jackson Smith in the jig, but obviously we saw him in the backfield. We're going to see him in the backfield. We're going to see
him in the slot too. Yep.
In the slot, in motion, anything they can do to be like, okay, you don't get to define who covers Jackson Smith and Jigman unless you run the guy along the field and give Sam Darnold a tell.
Marcus Jones, the nickelback, is a very kind of high variance player.
Yeah.
Right? We did a thing for ESPN where I needed to name an X factor on each team, and I named Jones as the X factor for the Patriots because, first of all, punt returns. Second of all, he actually led the Patriots in defeats. There were only 5 teams that had a defensive back lead them in defeats, and the Patriots were one of them. But his coverage numbers are not that great, and he is not designed to cover Jackson Smith and Jigba.
No, and I think most coaches, if you say your slot guy is going to get defeats in the running game and some pick sixes, are you okay with the idea that they might get torched from time to time? Most coaches will be like, yeah, I'll put the safety behind him. I'll put the safety behind him to get the other stuff. And that's how Vrabel, his mentality.
And the safeties are very underrated. I don't think people know a lot about the safeties for the Patriots. Jalen Hawkins and the rookie Craig Woodson have played very well this year.
Right. They are unknown players.
The Patriots, by the way, use single high safety 55% of the time, which is 8th in the league.
Okay.
And Darnold is better against single high safety than he is against two high.
I'll bet you they like getting that look. Bring your safeties up with the 2 tight ends, do the play action, roll the guy out. Safety could wind up deep on somebody in like a cover 3 situation.
Let's see what else I've got so many stats just written here. The big explosive runs. The Seahawks allow an explosive run on just 6.7% of carries, which is the best figure in the NFL. So if you are waiting for the big Travion Henderson explosive run, I have some bad news for you. It is probably not coming. And then flip it around. Kenneth Walker was number 1 in FTN's avoided tackle rate.
Not surprising.
Right? That is what he is stellar in. The Seahawks, by the way, were second in lowest avoided tackle rate on defense, and the Patriots were 6th in lowest avoided tackle rate on defense. So these are 2 very good tackling teams.
Very fundamentally sound teams. Kenneth Walker will avoid some tackles that aren't even there, of course.
Right. Well, that's the thing is without Charbonnet, they don't have their run out the clock guy.
Right. Or the short yardage.
Walker is much more of a let's get ahead guy and not I'm going to give you 3 yards, 4 yards on every carry, run out the clock guy when we get to the fourth quarter.
Right. Didn't turn out to be a factor against the Rams because Walker had a big run, a big catch, and then they threw the ball to get the ball to run the clock out.
People know, obviously, I don't think I have to say this. People know the Seahawks play almost exclusively nickel defense.
Yeah.
Because Nick Emenwari is sort of a combination slot corner and linebacker.
Right.
And he allows them to play the run. And they have a stacked box less often than any other defense this year except for San Francisco.
That's interesting because I'm trying to think of their opponents. A team that plays the Niners twice a year should have some stacked boxes.
But they don't. And they were still really great in run defense anyway, right? Like, even though they didn't stack the box very much, they were the best run defense in the league. And that's a problem. The Patriots are not really – I don't think there's going to be a lot of running from the Patriots. I think they're going to have to pass the ball. I think they're going to need to have use the short passing game as the running game kind of thing going on.
Right. McDaniels has had success with that in the past. Of course, he's had quarterbacks, very veteran quarterbacks to do that in the past. But yeah, my impression of the Patriots so much during the year was either the running game was cooking because everything was cooking because they were playing one of those teams, or it was deep pass oriented. It was big play oriented by May, and to a lesser extent, Henderson getting those big 40-yard chunks.
Yeah, well, especially the Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that was just chunk.
That had the big Henderson chunks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What's your general thought here? Are you feeling Seahawks? Are you feeling Patriots? Do you feel like it's closer? The line is 4.5, by the way. Seahawks by 4.5. And I definitely, if I had to put money on this, I would go Seahawks to win, Patriots to cover.
Okay. I've been given my official numbers I'm going with is Seahawks 26, Patriots 17. Not suggesting a blowout so much as how the Seahawks win these games at the end where they do that little pull away as they go down the field towards the end. I recognize how much better the Patriots are than I thought they were circa week 10, week 11, where I was stomping on everything and yelling Fraudzilla.
And then they're playing better. It's not just even if you took away their opponent adjustments, they're still playing better now than they were when they were playing Atlanta and whatever in like week 10.
Right. They're playing better. And then I go through this playoff gauntlet and I look at the snow and the wind and the Stidham and the Nico and the closeness of the games and the fumbles and all these other things. I say, well, they're playing better, but there are still all these indicators of a team that, have crawled up to get here. Then I look at the Seahawks and it's like, yeah, we smoked the living daylights out of the 49ers and we had trouble with the Rams, but the Rams are the second best team in the NFL. And it was still a convincing win. And I don't see the gap having closed between the two teams.
Yeah. I feel like there's still a little bit of Patriots aura because one, Vrabel, and two, that they've made it back so quickly makes people feel like, why won't these guys just go away?
Yeah.
And there's also, let's be really honest here, there's still a little bit of thought in the back of your mind. Oh no, Sam Darnold is going to spit the most important game.
Yes. Oh yes, of course.
But other than those two things, even though I do feel like there are places in which the Patriots like the play action thing, where the Patriots are a really good counter for the Seahawks, I feel like the Seahawks need to be the favorite. Again, it wouldn't shock – a Patriots win would not be a shock. This is not 2001.
No.
Right? The Patriots have played well enough over the last few weeks that they're number two in weighted DVOA, including the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
Now, there's a chunk between them and Seattle.
Okay.
But they're not eighth. They're second.
Okay.
So, but Seattle is better. Seattle is the rightful favorite. And I know it's going to be like – ESPN came out with its initial thoughts, and they asked 10 of us what we thought, and we all picked the Seahawks. And I know that's a whole jinx thing or whatever, but I feel like you have to pick the Seahawks. Like, it doesn't mean they're going to win. It doesn't mean they're guaranteed to win, but they're the better team.
I agree. And I was on the radio a couple times, and this feels like a Super Bowl in need of storylines to a degree.
Yeah, I feel the Rams Patriots would have had more storylines.
Right.
It would have been that these guys are meeting for the third time, and it would have been the two MVP candidates.
Right.
And the Seattle defense is less interesting than the Houston defense because it doesn't have the personalities.
Right.
There's no Will Anderson or Stingley to be the personality. I mean, I guess
Seattle has no personality.
I guess
they have no personalities. And then the Patriots' personality is we're like the younger brothers of that crew. Yeah. We're like Star Trek: The Next Generation, but you haven't gotten to know us yet. So, and then you have to go back to, well, there's the Darnold thing, and like I'm already bored with will Darnold or won't Darnold. So it feels like there's just a general lack of aura besides what the Patriots bring to them as the reflected shine of the Belichick Brady years.
Operatic says, any fun props this year? I haven't looked through the props. Brian Knowles just sent me the big prop bet extravaganza, so that'll go up on FTN later today. He said there are props regarding ice, and he has stayed as far away from those as humanly possible. And I said yes.
Holy excuse me.
What kind of weirdo? Far away from talking about that.
Never mind.
Yeah. But I'm sure there's fun. How what song will Bad Bunny play? Props and all that stuff, and how long will the national anthem be, and all the usual.
He won a Grammy last night. Bad Bunny.
He won 3. He won Album of the Year.
I fell asleep at 9:15, but now I know what he looks like.
I didn't watch any of it. I only know because the headline came across this morning that he won Album of the Year. So good for him.
Good for him.
Yeah, it's funny. It's so funny because criticizing the NFL for having Bad Bunny. He just won Album of the Year.
Right.
How can you criticize them for having the guy who had like the most popular album in the country this year? Like, that's how it works. You get the popular guy. That's how it works.
Right. Lots of people like him. Yeah. No one asked my opinion because I'm an old man who still listens to Neil Young.
And in case you didn't notice, they're having games in Madrid and Paris.
They're not just having games
on an international audience.
They're not just having games, by the way, in Paris. They're having Browns Saints in Paris.
They are having Browns Saints.
What did the French?
We are not sending our best to France.
Right, we're surrendering back at the French.
But New Orleans, I guess, is
is French.
If you're going to send a team to France, you send New Orleans, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I guess that makes sense. So, so my feeling is Seattle, and I guess your feeling is Seattle, but you would probably pick Seattle against the spread too.
Yeah, and I'm going under.
And I would go under also.
Yeah,
it's like 46 or something.
Something like that. I'm really behind, as you might be able to tell.
No, because you've been rocking the Senior Bowl. It's all good.
Yeah, that's the thing.
All right, so that does it for the Super Bowl preview, kids. Hopefully, it's a really awesome game. We've been lucky enough the last few years to have really good games, so hopefully this one is also a really good game. We will be back on Monday, the day after the Super Bowl, to talk about the Super Bowl and close up shop on the season, and then we get into draft time. So make sure you're following Mike's Substack, MikeTanier.substack.com for all of his Senior Bowl reporting. For Mike Tanier, I am Aaron Schatz. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody.